What's going on? Welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We're about to break down UFC 310 Pantoja versus Asakura. And before we start getting into this, as always, like and subscribe, comment along. Let us know how you felt about each fight, each certain fighter, or your take of things. We'd love to hear it. I'm Paul Pickle-Winham, and I'm joined with
You already know it's your boy Kev Waterboy Savoy, but I had to call the doctor. so
Mr. Pep.
this week. But no, Paul, that was a good ass fucking card. I ain't gonna lie to you. I tuned in. This is probably one of the first cards in a while where I tuned in for the first prelim fight. Great fucking fight. And from there to just set the tone.
Oh yeah, especially with how stacked the card. And I bet on like every fight from the first one on. And like for the first few ones, it was like right on the head, except for the Chiesa one. But it was more of a emotional pick when we made that pick.
I told you. I was like, Michael Chess is not who I think he is. But I'm gonna take him because I'm pretty sure he's who I think he is.
But like the Kennedy fight, the first one with that crazy overhand knockout, which was nasty. But like I told I was like the fight's gonna be a knockout in the first fight and a submission in the second fight. UFC knows what the fuck they doing. Like they setting up these fights. And that's exactly what happened. Wait, Kennedy with the first round knockout, and then we're followed up. Clay Guda's ass gets subbed in the first round by Chase Hooper.
Yeah, that was a nice ass. What was it, armbar? Or was it darts?
It was an armbar,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably my favorite one to see actually done in UFC, done correctly and shit. Like it's so nasty.
No, I love me a good guillotine.
But I mean, we where do you want to start from? Because I mean, from bottom to top, we was there.
I mean, we talked about the first two.
Well, then you got your boy Chiesa, the old man, half boof, half still got enough in him because he took sub Mike Max Griffin, which killed my fucking parlays because I had this fight to go to distance. And after the first two rounds, I want to say like Chiesa landed six significant strikes and Griffin ran to like five. And I was sitting there
Mhm.
like, oh, we good. Like they ain't even hitting each other. We're fine. And then also he takes it to the mat. And I was like, oh fuck.
Got
Oh,
his ass.
and it was tight. I was like, yeah, he's not getting out of that.
He got him up out of that. I was expecting him to I wasn't aware of his submission game like that, so I didn't really expect him to do too much. But he got that bitch immediate, and I was like, oh, say less. Michael Chiesa for the dub.
Yeah, and it took a boring fight, and like you get a finish and a boring fight. People forget about how boring those first couple of rounds were. So that's exactly what this card needed. Because with that, we kept it moving. And Joshua Van took it on Cody Durden, and Van looked fucking good. I think everyone took Van, and he does absolutely start to finish, completely cooked them. And Romeo was making a few comments. I think Kurt Durden like changed his haircut or something, and it was just
Mhm.
like yeah, that's why he fucking lost.
Yeah, I was expecting Van to win, but I was expecting him to fuck him up like this. He outstruck him 184 to 74.
Yeah, it
100
showed good takedown defense too, which was the big question mark.
facts. Definitely wasn't going for shit. I mean, he stuffs six out of Durden's eight takedowns. So it's like, bro, your bread and butter is not getting where you need to be. Definitely great performance by Joshua Van. Love to see him face better competition.
And then, yeah, no, me too. The big question mark was takedown defense. So when Durden was getting stuffed, I was like, oh, on the feet, Van's going to take off. And that's exactly what he did. So he's a fun fighter. Just got to keep watching matchups because they got to get that takedown defense solid because he can really just keep going up.
Hell yeah.
Then Eric Anders knocking out Chris Weidman in the second round. Anders from start to finish kind of like showed that like, hey, come on now, this is a pick 'em.
That shit blew me, kid. I was not expecting that.
Off
I
the
don't
injury in a catchweight bout.
yeah, I don't think Eric Anders is no bitch even slightly. But the way that he kind of just took over, especially in that second round, this outstruck him 121 to fucking 27 ball. I'm talking about he was fucking him up, tagging his ass, and then beat his ass with ground and pound.
Yeah, it got bad. Like I didn't. like Chris Weidman won't say it was defenseless, but it was a certain point I was like, all right, when are we stopping this one? Because it was like, come on now, like Aragon is kind of just wailing on him.
The ref was not trying to stop that shit for nothing.
Yeah, that little Weidman bet on his side.
Oh, they're like, I just have Weidman going 2.5.
Yeah, we need to keep. Come on, Weidman, you good?
Mm-hmm. It
And
was not fighting back.
this was our first controversial fight. Brian Battle missing weight beforehand, takes on Randy Brown. He gets a split decision win, which was it was a very close, very competitive fight.
Mm-hmm.
Had me kind of scared with my parlay. Everything had Brian Battle on it. I was so confident with the missed weight shit going on. He gets the win, parlays cash. He definitely gets a shit ton of boos from the crowd, and then he plays the villain role, like quieting them, all that stuff. Like he's kind of leaning into the anti-hero role because he definitely got some boos. The crowd wasn't too happy with him, especially for missing weight. But he did not give a fuck as he won.
I mean, I'm not mad. I think it was an extremely close fight, so I'm not mad at the Brian Battle W. If Randy Brown had got the W, it would have been the same thing, but because of the whole controversy beforehand, that means something. And the fact that it wasn't like the most exciting fight. It wasn't a bad fight. But I think it comes down to like Brian Battle got the sneaky punches, sneaky hits on the body. And I think that meant something. And then he, even though he didn't get his takedown, all his takedowns got stuffed by Randy Brown's takedown defense. He had more control time. And you know how these refs are. That's all you need sometimes. Just need to feel like you tagged a little more and you controlled them on the ground. You know what? I'll give you
Got
the
him
round.
on the cage or holding him on the cage. There ain't a lot. When there is,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of get a little bit of the better on the exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he won, but when I heard split decision and the fact that Randy Brown had a couple takedowns, I was like, this might be good. This one might. I was looking at all my parlays, like, guys.
And this low key, this wasn't a robbery. It was just like a could have went either or. I'm gonna tell you about some robberies on this fucking card.
Hopefully it's not the next one. But Movsar Edvilov getting the unanimous decision over Aljo at Russian wrestling. Aljo had a couple good scrambles. They both took each other down. They both got about the same amount of control time, but it was just Aljo was, I would say, probably looking more for the BJJ stuff, whereas Evilov was mixing in the striking because the control time takedowns all identical, but then you look at strikes and it's 136 to 45. It's also like when you're watching the fight, Aljo would get in a good spot, will hold it, and just wasn't doing much with it. Like maybe he was setting up for submissions or this or that, but then where Evilov was on top, he was being active. Maybe they're not significant strikes. He's not fucking doing John Jones impersonation from the top mount, but he was at least active. And I think that's what won him not every round, but 29-28 across the board.
I mean, I guess the best way to explain this fight was like Aljo looked good in the last round. I think he slammed him like twice or some shit. He kind of got like a bulk of his control time there, but like Evolov outstruck him like 51 times in that round. 51, like that's a lot of punches to fucking just sit there and just let nigga get on that. So I think that was the difference. I mean, I don't think these punches were hurting Aljo to the sense that like they were killing. It's just it was so many. Like you just, I'm not tripping on the judge for doing that. When I was watching the fight, I was also high key having a conversation at the same time. So every time I looked up, it looked like Aljo was getting fucked up until like I kind of locked in for the last round. So when they gave it to Mosbar, I wasn't tripping. I just was shocked that niggas was just screaming robbery. I was like, this was a close fight. I just feel like this dude did a little more.
Yeah, and then like because the strikes weren't like he was 136 of 165 on striking. Like he was like those are great numbers. But out of the 136, only 8 significant strikes. So like it was just who was that? He was just active. That was the whole thing. It's just like he was just staying more active. There wasn't like it was almost like amateur boxing. I was like these punches aren't meant to hurt. It's just I'm scoring points.
Yeah.
Then we had the submission. I think Romeo called it submission on this one on the podcast. Vicente Luque submitting Thimba Gorimbo.
Got him up out of there.
We were all on the go. Not all of us. Romeo wasn't, but me and you were on the Thorimbo train. And
Yeah, the
also
Rock fuck with him, all that.
52 seconds, Anaconda choke. Anaconda choke so nasty too.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't even know, like, how to even set that shit up because it was like instant, like,
Yeah,
Lord,
as
choke.
soon as they like clinched up, and then like it wasn't even like taking them down. It was like clinched up, locking in, going to the ground. You're right now. You're sleeping.
Yeah, yeah, it was almost like they drilled that. Like, that's exactly how they drilled it. He was like, yeah, we're gonna get him here. Oh, he's just gonna let me do it immediately. Say less.
And I think it kind of no shot at the Rimbo, but it was also like you're not the most polished fighter. Maybe we should have seen that coming with like you're sleeping at the gym. You probably like you. I'm not trying to come at your story or nothing, but it was just like other guys are traveling to world class facilities because like Luke's been all over the world. Very polished striker, very polished BJJ guy, taking on someone who I'm not saying is fresh in the game, but just not as polished as once you get to the upper echelon of the UFC, where people know
Yeah,
your names.
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I think maybe with a little less of talent, he can go ahead and still be a problem in this division. Nothing too crazy. Probably not top 15 or nothing. But be a little problem for some people in this division. Luque closed the gate on him. I didn't know Luque could still gatekeep, but he's closing the gate on these niggas right now. So shout out Luque getting it done.
Hey, and The Rock fuck with you. Maybe you could pop up in one of his movies.
Yeah.
Then we got Dominic Reyes, KO, and Anthony Smith.
Sheesh.
This was bad. At one
Sheesh.
point, Dominic Reyes said Anthony Smith told him to punch him in his face as hard as he could, because just so he could feel something. Like it was, and then Anthony Smith. I don't know if he retired after the fight. He wanted to take the gloves off. He cried. His best friend died like a couple of days prior to the fight, so he was going through all that. And it definitely showed because like I've never heard another fighter say like, yeah, the guy I was fighting told me to punch him in the face as hard as I could so he could feel something. So I did. And then at a certain point on the ground and pound, me and Romeo were saying to ourselves, like, the ref not going to stop this? Like, yeah, Dominic Reyes is gassed and these punches are light, but like Anthony Smith is in the fetal position. Like, he's literally like not even punching back. It was like 30 unanswered punches. They weren't heavy punches, but it was just unanswered. And at a certain point, it wasn't even like too much damage. It was just like, hey, this fight's over. Like, he's not fighting back no more. Like, the ref came in finally and stopped it.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, I remember watching this fight and then we started talking shit like, God damn.
It was one of that Reyes from it didn't look like these two guys were in the same like skill position, like skill wise, for whatever reason. Whether it's the mental issues or Anthony Smith has had a rough year. That's all I know.
Hell yeah. But hey, shout out Dominic Reyes. We like to see them boys getting dubs.
And then personally, my favorite fight on the card, Dan Ho Choi getting the K over Nate Lanier. And if you were on the live or watching live, bro, you would have saw like there were some jokes that I would not repeat that Romeo was making on the live as Choi was walking into the octagon. And then all of a sudden, it was like very first exchange, Choi lands a nasty like left uppercut between the guard, and it was like me and Romeo both said, "Hold the fuck up!" Like,
Uh,
and then immediately this Nate Lanier getting cooked on the feet. That's cooked, and it was like, "Oh shit, fucking this guy." Ooh, we apologize, Dan Choi. We were
yeah,
not aware of your game.
at all. I was watching this fight like, yo, bro, he's beating his ass right now.
Plus 120 underdog, right? Free money was a sitting on the board.
Fucked him up. It would have been a fucking UD if they went to the decision.
Took him down a couple of times too to show like, hey, I'm not just a striker. I can also slam him, take him, control him, do some damage on top. It was like for a card where we personally didn't know your name. I am excited for the next Choi fight. Like I am locked in. Like Daniel Choi, locking in, watching his next one.
Facts.
Then our boy Arkansas, Bryce
Ar-
Mitchell
Arkansas.
took care of business against Kron Gracie. This fight potentially could have been So boring. So it was for about 10.5 minutes. And could have been left a very bad shit stain on what was almost a perfect card for like how exciting it was, finishes, name value. And then this dragged on, and thankfully Bryce Mitchell put an end to it and like hits it with a fucking ferocious shot from the top that like his head bounces off the mat. And at that point, I was like, oh fuck! And Bryce Mitchell, a couple more punches, fights over. Kron did almost submit him. He had like one submission attempt that some analysts out there were saying, oh, he was just 1 step, 2 steps away from maybe locking it in. I didn't personally see it. It looked like Bryce was just kind of on top control for most of this fight, just doing his thing. But yeah, Kron potentially almost had a way of winning, but I didn't see it.
Bro, the best thing I heard all week was I think it was the Weasel. He was like, bro, if you're not Charles Oliveira, don't you ever pull guard in the UFC. Stop that shit. Stop that shit right now. Like, what the fuck? First you butt screw and now you pull a guard every 2 seconds. Shout out fucking Bryce for hitting him with that United States Detroit type smash for my hero. Cause like,
That
he
is what he
almost
got
really,
hit with, a Detroit smash on the top guard.
yeah, he almost fucked up this whole card with that lame ass shit. I was watching this like, no way. Bro, we just made fun of you for butt screwing and all this extra bullshit. But this is the UFC, bro. You cannot come in with only one discipline. That's just insane.
And at a certain point, the UFC, like I know what the Gracies meant to it and everything, but at a certain point, you got to look at the Gracies and be like, if you are not gonna learn how to strike or anything else, you're not getting an automatic shot in this motherfucker. Like you are not just coming into this organization because Kron has left a bad stain, and Gracie's gonna have a lot to do to make it look better.
Facts.
Then we had the big boys, the heavyweights, the split decision, the controversy, the one that
Now
had
this is
Dana White was pissed after this fight.
yeah, now this is where the robbery was happening. There was a robbery on this card. It came from right mother trucking here.
Cyril Gahn split decision win over Volkov, where if you look at the numbers, if you watch the fight, you probably thought Volkov won. Volkov was wrestling him, was outstriking him, was the more active fighter. But round by round, judges thought Cyril Gahn won 29. At least two judges thought he won 29-28. One judge had it for Volkov 29-28. Kev was so confident he even left the stream with thinking Volkov had won.
Yeah, like I was like, yo, bro, I'm fucking dead tired. Let me go take a quick, not even a nap. Let me just lay down for a second to in between this Ian Garry fights. And all I did was look down at my phone and see get a text that says "Gone one pussy with 7 C's," and I was like, "What? How?" Volkov literally dominated him on all phases of the fucking fight, and he just made him look like a bitch. Like he just struck it out, outstruck him, did everything he needed to do. I felt like, but the refs didn't see that. I don't know what the argument for Gone winning was. I just didn't see it.
And then in the third round, Gahn catches an injury. He starts like wobbling because he like his left foot. You can just tell like something in his left foot's fucked up. Fast forward, gets the MRA. His toe is broken, but he showed the X-ray, and it's a crack like straight down the toe, like this crack straight down the toe. Like that bitch is broken half. I was like, God damn, like that looked pretty bad.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I've never seen no shit like that before. But yeah, Gon definitely was not supposed to win this fight. I agree with Dana. I had motherfucking Volkov winning this fight, and Volkov should be going on to fight Tom Aspinall. I mean, I don't want to see that fight, really. Him and Tom Aspinall again. We saw what happened last time. It was like, what, a minute? So I'm not mad at the Cyril Gahn Aspinall fight, but yeah, Volkov won that thing. I guess his next fight is against like a Jelton Almeida type dude.
Probably. And Dana White himself said to him afterwards, "You were fucking robbed." Like he was pissed off about this.
Yes, bro, because he was. But MMA judging is just never good, kid. It'll never be great.
And then our co-main and main event. Co-main, we had a 5-round banger. Shavkat unanimous decision win over Ian Garry. Ian Garry had his moments. There was that rear naked choke, which was locked in. It looked like if it wasn't Shavkat, me and Romy were saying like anyone else would have tapped. Shavkat's face went red. Ian Garry squeezing and squeezing. Somehow or another, he gets through that, reverses him back on top. 48-47 seems like the right judging to me. But this is just the added layer to how much of a dog Shavkat is. Shavkat came into the fight with a torn MCL. So
Whoa,
off a torn MCL, he 48-47 Ian Garry.
that's crazy. I did not know he came over to 20th. Yeah.
Yeah, he disclosed it after he thought about pulling out, but he didn't. It was such a big card, big moment, big, like they're hyping this shit up. So he decided he'll fight through it. It wasn't completely torn; it was a partially torn MC, but still, like you're going in there against another undefeated fighter, and you said, "Fuck it, I know I can win with this one leg, basically." And that's probably also why some people say that he didn't look as great throughout the whole fight. But I don't know. Shavkat still, to me, I was happy with this win. I was happy with Ian Gary's performance. I need to see more of these undefeated fighters fighting each other. Don't be scared of the losing your L. And but to win it with a torn MCL, yeah, Shavkat, future champion.
Yeah, I can agree. I mean, I gotta see him what he looks because the ACL changes a lot. Because I felt like watching Bilal Muhammad kind of work Leon Edwards like he did. It's tough for me to be just screaming super champion because he matches up. If he fights like that, he matches up well with anybody in his division.
Did,
But knowing Shavkat came in with a torn ACL, looked pretty mighty decent and still got the dub. Ooh, that
did
might
you see
change
when
things.
Bilal entered the octagon for
The
the
security, yeah, security ain't let him in type shit.
yeah, when they did the little face off? Did you see the fucking size discrepancy between the two?
Nah,
Bilal was like 7 inches smaller, and like the width and it just looked like two different weight classes standing next to each other.
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, Shavkat like towered over him with height, everything. I was like, bro, Shavkat's a big motherfucker. But no, I'm Shavkat immediately gets the title shot with this fight. I think he
Hmm?
had the title shot, then Bilal had to move out. So like him, the next fight should be for title.
Yeah, for sure. And give Ian Gary like Kobe Covington, winner of Kobe Covington versus Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah, that would be nice. Ian Garry, I don't think should take like he took the hardest fight in the division with an undefeated record. I don't think you should hold anything against him. He should get whatever fight he kind of wants next, other than a title shot.
Yeah, I can respect it.
Then we had the final fight, the main event. We had Alexander Pantoja showing that UFC is the best in the world with his second round submission over Kai Asakura. There was a flying knee in the first round from Kai Asakura that landed straight on the dome of Pantoja, and Pantoja ate that shit and kept it pushing. And at that moment, I was like, oh yeah, if he ate that shot, I don't think Kai's got anything else in the bag for him.
I mean, yeah, bro, just started this shit off with a flying knee, and he was like, all right, well, that was your best shot. Time to walk him down. He walked it out. So I just thought it was crazy the way that he got the takedown and immediately took the nigga back. Immediately. I'm talking about seconds, took the dude back, locked it in, and then left him unconscious on the mat. Somebody come pick your man's up.
And if you're on the live, I said it before the fight, like as they're walking out, I was like, go live bet rear naked choke Alexander Pantoja. And Pantoja's getting the rear naked. He's gonna win by submission. Submission was plus 200. I was scouring to find a rear naked choke exact bet, and then no one had it. I was pissed, but exactly how it went down. Kai did show that he could probably fight with some other guys in the division. It wasn't like a complete dismantling, but he does need to work on his takedown defense and his submission defense because this flyweight division in the UFC with Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno, like there's gonna be guys that can take you down and submit you easily if you do not work on it.
Yeah, facts.
But I mean, UFC 310 was a banger ass card. I appreciate anything you have to say about the card before we head out.
I mean, it was phenomenal. Jaden really did his thing. Connor, the whole team, they put that shit together, and they said something so far when they was talking about how do you compare this year to last year, or like how do you try to top this year? He goes, bro, that's the goal every year. And the way that they stay consistent, is pretty fucking fire, especially with the way that fighters can pull out or like anything can happen. Shout out them. And this card was proof that like when everything hits, everything hits.
Facts. And even with a couple of the slower fights, they found a way to get a finish or make it exciting to wrap it up. And if it wouldn't be a UFC card with at least one controversial robbery on it with the gun.
Facts. Yeah, that's real.
But we appreciate everybody for watching. Appreciate anyone that's tuned in for the Romeo's live. We was on that motherfucker for a little bit. But as always, thank you for watching. Go down, like, and subscribe. This was UFC 310. We broke that shit down for y'all. And y'all didn't know. Now y'all know.